Women's sexual marketplace value explained. Okay, what is sexual marketplace value? Otherwise known as SMV value. Basically, sexual marketplace value is your current net worth in the dating landscape, right? And it's very different for men than it is women. So do not believe for a second that feminist lie you've been sold. We're all equal, we're all the same. You know, women can be sluts just like men, you know, and all this other stuff when it's just not true. And women tend to have very different dating strategies in their 20s than they do in their 30s, their 40s, and their 50s. So let's talk about this in today's coaching video, because this is going to be very, very important that you guys understand this, okay? Because when you are dating a woman in her 20s, that chick is generally not looking to get locked down, right? She's not looking to have a family. She's not looking to hold you up for, you know, child support or anything like that. Whereas a woman in her 30s is definitely looking for something more stable, whether it be a family or an actual like full-blown relationship, marriage even. Women who are over 30 will generally be looking to trap you, so to speak. Not all, but many of them will. Right? This is why I tell you guys are fools when women tell you, oh, I can't get pregnant, it's okay, you could go inside of me, and you actually believe that shit. No, you don't know how many women have said that, and it's generally women in their 30s who say shit like that. It's like, why are you trying to sell me on this? You know, why are you trying to get pregnant? Like, no, I can't get pregnant, it's okay. And then all of a sudden you get a call, right? A few weeks later, like, oops. No, right? No oops. So understand a woman's sexual marketplace value, okay? When a woman is in her 20s, she is at the very peak of her physical attractiveness, okay? Generally her late teens, early 20s. Now, I did a coaching video previously talking about how a woman begins to lose her looks after 30. I was being very generous in that coaching video because, to be honest with you, a woman begins to lose her looks after the age of 25. So generally, a woman will enjoy her highest sexual marketplace value, or her highest SMV value, in her late teens to her early 20s. Okay, I know a lot of other content creators like to pull out a big-ass chart and a big-ass, like, you know, like diagram and all that, but, you know, this is very easily explainable. We don't need the diagram, okay? You just need to pay attention. So when a woman is in her late teens and early 20s, that is when she is at the peak of her physical attractiveness. This is when she has the most dating options and access to the highest value males that she ever will at any point in her life. Okay, she will never have this type of power over men ever again in her life, as she does in her late teens and early 20s. Okay, this is when she again is at the peak of her SMV market value, her sexual marketplace value. And this is why I laugh my ass off when I get women in their 30s, 40s, and 50s telling me like, oh, you're just teaching your students to pick up these naive little girls just because they're so easy. They're so easy to pick up. And it's like, are you freaking insane? You've never done a cold approach in your life. Oh, I'm a woman. As a woman, I know how women are. No, you don't, because you do not date women. You do not pick up women, right? And there was actually a great video that a feminist once did on 2020, right? 2020 had a segment where a feminist went undercover as a man, and she tried to live as a man and tried to experience life as a man, just to prove that men had like all this privilege. And then she was like just dumbfounded to find out like how hard it was to be a man. But one thing she did was she tried to pick up women. She tried to approach women, and she was thinking, I'm going to be so successful at this because I'm a woman and I know what women want. So she approached all these women being like sensitive. I gave women exactly what women always want, what I want. Sensitive man that listens to us and all of our needs. And that chick got pummeled. She was like, I can't believe what bitches these girls were. I tried to be nice to them. They're such bitches, and I can't believe how rude they were. Yeah, it's like, oh, wake up, hello. You don't know how women are. You don't know how your little girlfriends are. You don't even have enough self-awareness to see how you are, right? So when it comes to approaching women, you will find that the toughest targets on the planet to pick up are obviously women who are at the peak of their sexual marketplace value. Again, women in their late teens, early 20s. Those are the toughest women to pick up. Why? Because they have the most options and the largest access to high value males than they ever will at any point in their life. So they don't need you, right? They don't need you. They don't need to be with you. So if they happen to choose you to be with, it's because you got phenomenal game to the point where you got this girl, you sold yourself above all these other suitors, all these other male competitors. You were able to sell yourself above all those guys and convince her that you were a bigger prize than any of those other dudes. You know what that requires? It requires a shit ton of game. This is why you get into 7 months of mastery. Quick plug. You know, you cannot pick up girls who are at the peak of their SMV value, their sexual marketplace value, without game. Do not kid yourself. If you think you can go out there with that Disney bullshit you learned from TV, that ridiculous bullshit you learned from Hollywood and movies, and try to pick up girls with that, be my guest. Because obviously you look at your buddies, you know, you might look at a lot of men out there. Most men are married to average looking women. It's because most men don't have game. Most men have never bothered to learn this stuff. So they use that Disney bullshit they learned from the television and learned from Hollywood movies to attract their partner. And they got the level of partner that is in direct proportion to their level of game. Right? At the end of the day, that's what it boils down to. And unfortunately, that is generally not enough game to get the youngest and hottest women out there that are at the peak of their sexual marketplace value. That's why you guys need to be in 7 months of mastery, because I teach you enough game. Even in the very first month, you learn enough game to get these type of girls, all right? And for you guys who are in the program, by the way, thank you very much. I appreciate it. You're already in there and you're actually watching this. Thank you. But do not kid yourself, ladies, okay? The peak of your sexual marketplace value is before the age of 25. After the age of 25, okay, you're gonna see a slight decline year after year. It's gonna continue to go down, okay? It's not gonna be like a landslide unless you drink and do drugs and, you know, completely wreck your health and eat piss poorly. Then you're obviously gonna slide down a lot faster, okay? But assuming you're taking care of yourself, a lot of attractive women tend to do pretty well with taking care of themselves. They eat healthy, they go to the gym, you know, they're very health conscious, so they're able to kind of slow that descent down, right? So they're able to slow it down as opposed to women who just let themselves go. They're like, shh. They're literally like a slide in a playground, just sliding all the way down. I mean, their SMV value is just like sinking, like the Titanic, right? But you ladies who keep yourselves up, you can kind of like, you know, float in the water and at least till the Carpathia gets there, right? But after the age of 25, it's pretty much downhill, you know? And again, you can slow that descent down. So for a woman's SMV value, you know, from the time she hits like puberty, from the time she hits 13, that's generally when she starts to blossom, right? And guys start to notice her, actually guys of all ages, whether they admit it or not. All right, so the time a woman hits like, you know, 13 years old, puberty, she starts to go like this. She starts to ascend up in sexual marketplace value. And then she hits age 25 and she like literally peaks up there at age 25. Okay, after the age of 25, slowly starts to descend. Okay, she starts to descend even to beyond to where she was when she was 13. She just keeps descending, 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 right? And again, the less she takes care of herself, the faster she's going to descend. Whereas with men, just because we mature a lot more slower and we generally don't look very attractive when we're very young, we generally look very goofy and just like kind of like retarded that way. It's not until we hit our mid-30s, okay? Our mid-30s all the way to age 45, based on research, right? We keep peaking up and then slowly we start to descend. But really, when I talk about a male's SMV value descending, there are a lot of factors that come into play. So it's not just looks. Our financial status comes into play. Our social status comes into play. And for men, our looks, our social status, our financial status are not directly all linked to each other, right? Whereas with women, everything is linked to her physical attractiveness. Okay? It's all linked to her physical attractiveness. Whereas with men, it's not like, you know, if one thing goes down, everything goes down, right? Because that's how it is for women, unfortunately, right? It's just the way nature set us up. Whereas for men, I mean, you can kind of like float around in the ocean like a buoy as long as you have something in order, whether it be your finances, whether it be your social status, whether it be your looks. But obviously you can't hang on to your looks forever. So obviously your looks, as far as SMV value goes, is going to decline over the years as you get older. That's just the way it is, right? But it's going to decline very slowly. It's going to decline at a lot slower pace than a woman's physical attractiveness declines, because men, as we get older, we're, you know, you hear the old saying over and over, we're like a fine wine, right? We get better with age. And it's really true, because you see a lot of guys that, you know, I'm not going to say all, because, you know, some guys wreck their health, right? They wreck their health and they look like shit, right? But there are a lot of guys out there who are able to keep themselves up. And a lot of guys actually look better as an older man than they did as a younger man. Really, really strange effect with men. But a lot of guys, like, they could look good with that silver flowing hair, that salt and pepper hair, right? And they could look more distinguished. They could look more worldly. Whereas a woman doesn't have that effect, right? This effect only works for men. So a man's SMV value declining does not decline at the rate, not even half the rate that a woman's SMV value declines in society, right? This is why it's, you know, in many ways it's great to be a man. For women, just understand their peak is at 25, okay? That is their peak. And again, I've said in a previous video, 30. I was being generous, right? I'm being generous, but a girl's peak is generally at 25. That is when she is going to look, that is when she's going to peak in SMV value. And from there, it's downhill. And I've got guys, I just coached this student who was 41, right? I coached a student who's 41, and he is interested, he's really like interested in this woman who's in a social circle that is in her late 30s. And I told him, he was like, I don't know, man. I don't know if I can get this girl. And I'm like, no, you can get this girl. And he's like, I'm not sure, man. My buddies are telling me. I'm like, don't listen to your buddies. You can get this girl. I'm like, I don't even need to see her photo. He was like, I'll send you a photo. I'm like, you can. I don't need to see it, but I'm telling you, you can get this girl. Why are you so sure? And I'm like, just based on sexual marketplace value alone, you're 41. Your sexual marketplace value is here. She's what? Late 30s? Not even early 30s, late 30s. Her sexual marketplace value is here. You can get this girl. There's no reason why you cannot get this girl. Okay, she's at a place in her life. Let's go beyond SMV value. I'm like, she's in a place in her life where she is not in her early 20s where she's looking to travel and have fun and ride the CC. I'm like, she's in a place in her life where she knows she's not even in the fourth quarter anymore. She's in sudden death overtime. Okay, this girl is in sudden death overtime, and she knows she's running out of time, and she knows she has to put some points on the board. And you, being a guy who's, you know, a few years older than her, like 2 or 3 years older than her, you're the prime target, right? Because most guys your age are wanting much younger women. And she's like, this guy's willing to accept me. He's not holding it against me, my age thing. I'm like, you can get this girl. That's not a big deal. I'm like, don't put mental demons in your head that you can't get her, because then it'll become a self-fulfilling prophecy. Then she'll wonder, yeah, why are you thinking you can't get me? Maybe you're not so valuable. You know, you don't want to put that in your head. But I told him, I'm like, just based on SMV value alone, she's here, you're here, you can get her. Okay? Because again, most guys in their, you know, even their early 40s, they want girls at least 10 years younger. Most times 15 years younger. Okay, because you're still young enough to get those girls. Don't let society bullshit you otherwise. You are. You know, now does it mean that like if you're 50 years old, like every girl who's like 21 is going to want to date a 50-year-old? No, of course not, right? Because I hear that too. Like, oh, I'm 21. I would never date somebody who's even 5 years older than me. It's like, yeah, maybe you wouldn't because you're like too immature, but not everybody wants immature little girls, you know? And not everybody who's 21 years old is immature like you are, because there are plenty of 21-year-old girls out there who would love to date a man much older, who would kind of like get off on dating a man like her dad's age or even older than her dad. Plenty of those girls out there. Those are the ones you want to look for, right? Those are the girls you want to look for. Too many of you guys get wrapped up in looking for the girls who don't want you instead of looking for the girls who do want you, right? Plenty of young girls out there who want to date much older men. And you know what? Women in their 30s know that. They know that. So for this particular guy, I was like, yeah, you could definitely get that girl. No problem. Just based on sexual marketplace value alone. You know, this is why I tell you guys who are in your 40s, don't date women in your 40s. You don't need to. You guys are in your 50s. Don't date women in your 50s. You don't need to. These are the same former hotties that rejected you. Yet here you are coming to save them. You know, you're no different than your old blue pill 20-year-old self. Right? Time to fix that. You don't need to date these girls. You're 40 years old. You do not need to date a 40-year-old. Okay? You could date a 20-year-old, a 25-year-old. You do not need to date a 40-year-old woman if you're 40. Okay? You could easily date somebody 10, 15 years younger with ease. Okay? With ease. I do it all the time. Does every single target I come across, like, again, is she like wanting to date a guy her dad's age? No. But plenty of them are. Plenty of them are. Those are the ones you want to look for. Okay, it's like looking for a job out there. Is every job going to offer you 6 figures if you're looking to make 6 figures? No. Most jobs are going to offer you half of that. But you know what? There are a few jobs out there that will pay you that 6 figures. And you know what? Go apply for those. No different when going and approaching girls. If you want a young girl, that's what you got to look for. You know, if you want a young hot girl, you know, don't look for the ones that don't want to date an older guy. Look for the ones that do. Plenty of them out there. And they all tend to hang out together too. They all, you know, they all kind of are mature like that. They're mentally mature. And that's what you want. If you're going to date a young woman, you don't want to date a young, stupid one. It's like, oh, no, you're my dad's age. Instead, you want to date a mature one. It's like, oh, wow, you know, teach me what you know. I want to learn from you. Wow, that's awesome. You know, you're so worldly. And the girl's like intimidated by your, you know, by your wealth of life experience. That's what you want. You want a girl who's going to be like that. Not like, oh, you're too old. You know, you don't want that. Okay, so that's really all I have to say for today. That's really sexual marketplace value in a nutshell, and that's really how you could use it in your own dating life too, and just to kind of gauge like where certain girls are on the SMV scale. Okay, and you know, also too, to just help you realize if you're an older guy in your 30s, 40s, 50s, that you don't need to date a woman your own age. You know, you don't. There's no reason to do it. You know, in many ways, it's kind of charity, right? It's kind of like charity, guy. I hate to say it. It's kind of like charity if you're dating a woman your own age. And if you want to get those cream of the crop women in their late teens and early 20s, and believe me, they're worth it. You know, it's worth it a lot, especially if you get a cool, hot girl under 25 and she hasn't been poisoned by all that feminism. Her body is still really tight. Her boobs are still nice and perky. I mean, her skin is like porcelain. I mean, it's great. I love it. You know, I'm not saying that older women have nothing of value. They do, right? But you don't need to go there. Just because your sexual marketplace value right now is higher than a woman who's your own age, where that wasn't the case before. When you were both like under 25, her value was way up here, right? You guys remember all those girls who kicked you in the balls, right? In your early 20s, that were your age, that were our age, right? They were your age and they passed you up for the bad boy players or whatnot. It is not your job to come along 15, 20 years later and rescue them, right? It's not your job to do that, especially when they didn't come to rescue you back then, right? It's your job to take advantage of where you are on the SMV scale, right? In the sexual marketplace. You got to take advantage of your value. If you're a guy at the peak, right, in the middle of your prime, like say you're in your 40s, 45, whatever, you got a business, multimillionaire, and then you're gonna marry somebody who's your own age, that would be like you taking your Lambo and going down to a Toyota dealership and trading in that Lambo for a used Prius. Why? Why would you do that? Right? Because it's politically correct. It's safer for the environment. Now I can preach to all my friends. Hey, I'm good. I'm a good man. See? I'm not polluting the air. I'm not driving that douchebag Lambo anymore. Who cares? Be the douchebag. Drive that Lambo, right? You finally got to a place in your life where you could get that car. Drive it with pride. Okay? Understand your sexual marketplace value, guys. Don't be ashamed of it. Don't be ashamed of it. I get shamed all the time on my channel. Like, oh, even on my Instagram. Hey, girl, it could be your daughter. Yeah, so what? What do you want me to say? She's willing to date me. We have a great relationship. You know, we're out together. Nobody shames us. People are like, wow, man, what a great couple. Wow. Nobody's ever said, is that your dad? No. People are like, man, you guys look great together. You guys are a pretty couple. I get that a lot. You know, with the girl I'm seeing right now that's like 19. And she's about to turn 20, by the way. But yeah, we've got nothing but compliments. It's just, like I said, it's generally like older women like online who try to do that. They don't even do it in real person. It's always online. So just understand your SMV value, guys. Don't sell yourself short. Okay, understand that right now, if you are over the age of 25, especially in your 30s, 40s, and 50s, the scale has tipped in your favor and you are now winning this game. Okay, you are now ahead. There is no reason to turn the ball over to the other team now that you're winning. Okay, just keep putting it in the end zone. Okay, keep putting it in the end zone. Understand your SMV value. Okay, don't be ashamed of it and don't sell yourself short. Stop selling yourself short. You don't need to. Okay, you worked hard to get to this point in your life. Take advantage of it, live it, and enjoy it. So until next time, this is M. Don't forget to smash that like button below. Also, hit that notification bell right next to it so that you are notified whenever I release a brand new coaching video here on YouTube. More importantly, guys, make sure you subscribe to my channel. Okay? So many of you guys are watching my coaching videos right now. You are still not subscribed to my channel, which means anytime I upload a brand new video to YouTube, you are not getting it. Why? Because you're not subscribed to the channel. Okay, so make sure that you subscribe to my channel. That way, whenever I upload a brand new coaching video to YouTube, you will be the first to get it. Okay, you won't have to wait weeks and weeks or search through YouTube to find it. You will be the first to be notified as soon as I upload it to YouTube. So please make sure you subscribe to my channel as well. And for you guys who want to support my work and all this red pill content I'm teaching guys here even further, the best way to do that is by jumping into my monthly online coaching program, 7 Months of Mastery, by becoming a member of 7 Months of Mastery. Okay, and the first month is only $1. It's only $1 for the entire first month of coaching lessons, where I'm going to teach you how to go out there and approach and close the youngest, most beautiful women in the world into your life. I'm talking 8s, 9s, and 10s. I'm not talking about ball-busting career women over 30, past their prime, that are going to be shouting you down like a little boy, getting these relationships with you, and then poison dripping you. No, I'm talking about young, beautiful women, women who have not yet been indoctrinated by the feminist machine, women who still know how to be feminine. I teach you where to find these women, first of all, right? I teach you a lot of my top places that I personally go to find these type of women, right? And you're not gonna find them in the bars and clubs, guys. You're not gonna find them there, but I teach you where to go to find these types of women who are still feminine, young, beautiful, hot. And I teach you the easiest places to go to approach these women. And again, I'm not talking about bars and clubs. I'm talking about places outside of bars and clubs. Okay, and I teach you all of this in 7 Months to Mastery. And the lessons you're gonna learn in that very first month alone of 7 Months to Mastery are going to be priceless. Okay, you're gonna be able to use this stuff for the rest of your life. So say you don't continue with the program, right? You're gonna be able to take the lessons you learned in that very first month alone and use them for the remainder of your life. Not only that, you'll be able to pass them down to your sons and teach them to your sons, as well as any men in your family, any of close male friends that you have. You'll be able to teach this stuff to as well, okay? And you get all this in the very first month of 7 Months Mastery alone. And not only that, just take it a step further, I've also recently included a free cheat sheet as part of 7 Months Mastery, where I give you my top 5 openers, both direct and indirect, so you will know exactly what to say to the girl. Anytime you see an attractive girl out there that you want to approach, instead of like before where you didn't know what to say, so you never approached a girl, then you would go home kicking yourself wondering what would happen. You don't have to worry about that anymore. Now you can go approach that girl, because now you have my top 5 openers. Whether you want to approach that girl direct or indirect, it's up to you, right? But I give you my top 5 openers, I give you my top 5 negs, my top 5 objections, right? If the girl gives you an objection, like, hey, I have a boyfriend, I'm not interested, which over half the time is a complete lie. She's shit testing you. Or she tells you, hey, you're not really my type, sorry, I'm not interested, right? I tell you how to overcome that objection. And really, all that objection is, again, is a shit test. And once you can overcome that objection, it will almost by default just spin itself into attraction. When you show the girl that you're not willing to back down so easily and you have a response for her objection, she will oftentimes get impressed, because most guys will quit at the very first sign of rejection. Right when she says, oh, I have a boyfriend, most guys are like, oh, okay, thank you. And then they'll walk away, right? Like a chump, like a chump. The top 5 hottest girlfriends that I've ever dated in my life, when I initially approached them, they all said that they had a boyfriend, okay? Half of them were lying. Half of them, they just told me that because they're trying to get rid of me. Because they said for them, like telling a guy that that you have a boyfriend is a time management tool, right? It stops a lot of guys in their tracks. And really, it filters a lot of guys, because a lot of guys who just stop in their tracks, once the girl says, I have a boyfriend, those guys are generally beta anyway, right? They don't have the courage and the confidence in themselves and the self-belief in themselves to push forward. Therefore, the girl is not interested in him as a sexual dating partner. Whereas, like I was mentioning, the top 5 hottest girls that I've ever dated all said that they had boyfriends, and I pushed anyway. I said, oh, that's awesome. How long have you guys been together, right? That's a common response I give you guys in 7 Months of Mastery. How long have you guys been together? And then you watch her eyes to see if she lies, right? You look for that flinching. And then a lot of times the girl will be like, oh, like 6, 7 months, right? You could tell she's full of shit. You know she's lying. Then you could plow forward, right? Like I said, over half the time the girl's lying. It's a shit test. She wants to see if she could stop you in her tracks, stop you in your tracks, right? But once you show her that, you know what? You don't back down so easily, you're not so much of a pussy, that's when she feels sexual attraction for you. Like, wait, this guy, he's pretty bold. I like that. He's pretty bold. He could stand his ground. He's not a little bitch who's just gonna walk away. Okay, good luck, you and your boyfriend. No. But in 7 Months of Mastery, as part of my free cheat sheet, I give you my top 5 responses to those most common top 5 objections that the girl is going to give you in field. Whether she tells you she has a boyfriend, tells you that you're not her type, or whatever else, okay? And it's very, very crucial that you know how to respond when a girl gives you any of these top 5 objections to why she's not gonna give you her phone number or why she's not interested, okay? And like I said, the top 5 hottest girls that I've ever dated in my life all had boyfriends. I overcame their initial objection by going, well, really? How long have you been together? Or, that's great. Does he let you have guy friends just to get in the girl's life? And then once I did, sure enough, turned out there was no boyfriend. Or turned out that the guy was just like a casual friend that she went on one date with, that she just uses as an excuse to tell guys as a time management tool to keep all the chumps from trying to get in her pants, right? But once I was able to surpass that initial objection, the girl was like, wow, this guy's boss, this guy's cool. Right? And a lot of you guys ask me too, like, what about text game? What about text game? I tell you guys, it all starts with your approach. It all starts in the initial approach. The better your approach goes, the less text game you have to work. Really, my text game, all it consists of is me, after I approach a girl, texting her being like, hey, what are you doing later? Hey, do you want to go grab drinks later? Hey, what are you doing tomorrow? Let's hang out. Right? Because my approach already went so well, to the point where many times I've already gotten the girl out on what we call an insta date, where after the approach, instead of just getting her number, I took her on an actual date. Like we went to a Starbucks or a cafe, or we walked around the mall. We got to know each other better. To the point where now it's like, now that I have her number, texting her is easy. All I have to do is text her like, hey, what's up? What are you doing tonight? Let's go hang out. Come over. Let's Netflix and chill. Let's do that. And the girl many times like, oh yeah, we hung out today. He's cool. I trust him. Yeah, let's go. Let's do this. Where for most of you guys, you do a piss poor approach, you do a shitty approach to the point where you get a shitty number, right? The girl gives you her number, but you did such a shitty approach that now you're in damage control. And now you're trying to fix it over text, right? You're trying to fix it, and then you hit me up like, hey, I'm not in the program, but what should I say to this girl? I approached her and stuff, and it didn't go so well, but she gave me her number. It's like, what do you want me to tell you? You want me to work a miracle on you because you didn't do a proper approach, right? It all starts with the approach, guys. This is why you got to jump into 7 months of mastery, you know? Because as long as you're going out there and trying to approach girls with that bullshit that you learned from the TV and Hollywood movies and Disney, the Disney Channel, try going out there and picking girls up with that shit that you learned and see how fast your ass gets chewed up and spat out. See how far that shit gets you. Rather than professional training from a real life active pickup artist, a guy who's been in field over 2.5 decades now. I know I said it a million times, over 2.5 decades. How many women I've dated, guys? Over 350 young, beautiful women. Okay, I'm starting to slow that number down just because I'm getting super picky at this point. I've accomplished what I wanted to accomplish in game. All right, I'm still out there, but I'm slowing that number down just because I'm getting super, super picky with the type of girls I date these days, which is a gift. Okay, because a lot of guys aren't in that position. A lot of guys are forced to choose that one, you know, that one semi-cute, semi-chunky girl in there that they meet through their social circle, and then they end up marrying that girl. And then that girl becomes a 5'2", 200-pound tyrant, the overbearing career woman who poison drips him in his entire life and makes his life miserable. When you could have just jumped into mastery and learned this shit and got out there and got yourself a better woman, a better looking woman, a younger woman, a hotter woman, a cooler woman, right? A cooler woman. I get accused a lot like, oh, you're just teasing these guys to have sex with women. No, I'm not. I'm teaching you guys to get out there and get the highest value, hottest, coolest woman you can into your life, to bring many of those type of women into your life so you have a pool of dating options you could choose from. And you know, you're not living in such scarcity, right? Instead, you're living in abundance, right? So you're gonna get all of these lessons and more in the very first month of 7 months of mastery. And like I said, the first month is only $1, okay? It's only $1 right now. We're gonna be raising the price pretty soon. Right, so take advantage of it while you still can, while I've still got the free cheat sheet in there, which is very vital. You need that, guys. You need the free cheat sheet, so take advantage of that. Like I said, it's only $1 for the entire first month. And all you need to do is click that link below in my description box. It will take you over to my website where you can get signed up right now. It just takes 2 seconds, so do that now, and I will see you in my next coaching video. All right, here's a shirt, fellas. You guys are like, what shirt are you wearing? I'm wearing my Trans Am shirt today, my TA shirt. It's from a 77 Firebird. You guys remember the movie Smokey and the Bandit, 1977, Burt Reynolds, classic, great shirt, and until next time. You have to realize too, when you're gaming at a, you know, a hot spot like this in Hollywood, these girls, even the ones that are like not that attractive, like 5s and 6s, their social value is still up here because you get a lot of guys, even good-looking guys, just trying to take them home, right? Just desperate. They're like, I'll try to take that 5 or 6 home. So their social value is up here. You know, their heads get blown up, and they feel like their social value is here. This is why you get a lot of 5s acting like they're 9s and 10s, right, when they're not. So this is why I'm not, you know, if you're a newbie, this is probably not the best place for you to go and do game because you don't want to get those negative reference experiences, right? Where you go home and you're like, man, even these 5s are getting gamed by these hot guys, right? Because during the day, believe me, these girls are not, their social value is not going to be where it is. That's why they come out here to these venues. So they're kind of cheating the system a little bit. But you can cheat the system too. Just don't game them here, especially if you're new. I mean, unless you have, you know, some solid game skills, you got some decent pickup skills, and you've done enough approaches like we have, then obviously you want to come out here and, you know, really test your abilities.